Okay, now that you kind of got the gist and the overview of the founding principle that each player is assigned a salary or a contract amount based off the first year of how much they're bid on, how much they bring in the auction. So each player. So what you can do if you want to retain players on your team before other teams can bid on them or sign them in free agency is you can extend their contract through arbitration. Excuse me. And arbitration is going to be based off a formula, and we will have two arbitration periods throughout the season. The first one will be in the middle of the season, and it will go for 2 weeks. It'll be from week 8 to week 10. And then there'll also be an arbitration period that lasts 2 weeks immediately following each season, right after the Ultimate Fantasy Super Bowl. And that will last 2 weeks, and that will be right before the restricted free agency period and free agency period begins. So this, like I said, gives you an opportunity to extend any contract of your players or salary amount on your team before it expires at the end of the year and the player enters free agency. The arbitration formula will be calculated based upon the top 30 performing players at their position and their respective salaries. And I will show you real quick how it's going to work. So, whoops, sorry, wrong thing. Stay with me here. If you are still with me, hold on. Okay, there it is. Sorry about that. So this will be in a Microsoft Excel document, and if you do not have Microsoft Excel, I do have an old copy that I can load to your computer for free, and you can definitely get that from me. I can help you out with that. But how this arbitration formula is going to work is we will take for the quarterbacks, and we will do this for the following positions: quarterback, wide receiver, tight end, and running back. So I'll take the top 30 quarterbacks in the league based upon their points after week 8. There's a hypothetical, obviously, example. But let's say we have the top 30 quarterbacks over here and their points. And then right next to their points, I will have their salary of what they are making based on how much they were bid for during the auction. So I'll take those average points of the top 30 and we'll find the average points for the top 30 quarterbacks through week 8, and then we will take that average salary. So I'll take the average of those figures and the average of those figures, and they will be calculated right there. So then based upon that, I will find how much we are paying price per point based off the salary amounts and the points scored. So in this example, we are paying a little over 4 cents per point for the top 30 quarterbacks based on the averages. So what we'll have is this formula right here. So let's say you have Alex Smith on your team. He is currently making $850 a year, but he scored 120 points, so obviously he's doing really good. His contract's about to expire at the end of the year. He's doing so awesome. You want to keep him on your team. So what we will do is we'll take the number of points he scored and you will put it in the highlighted box, and then we'll multiply that by the price per point, which is a little over 5 cents, and then we're going to multiply it by 1.5. And the reason why we will multiply it times 1.5 is because any player that's doing that well, that their team wants to extend their contract in the middle of the season, is probably going to want to test free agency and get as much money as they can. So essentially with this 1.5, by multiplying it that, you're really overpaying for their actual value, for their player's actual value. You're paying more than what it should be. So in this example, Alex Smith, like I said, has scored 120 points. So you would type 120 points. Why? I don't have the num lock on. You would put 120 points in this box, and the formula in Excel will automatically multiply this, and you have your arbitration contract amount. You would have to offer Alex Smith $7.73 to extend his contract for the following seasons, and you can do however many seasons you want. You can do 8 seasons at $7.73 each season. you can extend it for one more season at 773 for that next season if you would like. The same thing goes for any player. So let's say you have Michael Vick on your team. He scored 98 points according to this. You type in 98 into the number of points, pops it into the contract, into the formula. So the arbitration contract amount for Michael Vick would be $6.31 if you wanted to extend his contract for the following season or the following seasons, depending on what you want to offer him. So that is how arbitration works. Let me flip back here. Make sure I'm not forgetting anything. A few rules about arbitration. There will be the 2 periods. You can extend any player based on the formula on your roster. Now, this is where it gets tricky. If you have a player that's been injured for a significant amount of time, say Adrian Peterson tears his ACL the second week of the season, they will not be eligible for arbitration for that year because obviously that is going to be skewed, that a contract amount, because he's not going to have any points to put in that formula. So if it is a player's last year of their contract, they will go. They will not go straight to free agency. Oh, if you don't extend them in arbitration, which you can't, we'll vote on it as a board. But if the player is injured, what you can do is just we'll allow you to roll over that contract amount for one more year if it's the last year of their contract. So Adrian Peterson's contract is up at the end of the year. You want to keep him on your team, but he gets injured during the second week, has like 12 points. Obviously, that's not going to be fair with that formula because you would have to offer him like a 50-cent contract probably, which is not a proper value of Adrian Peterson. So whatever his current contract is amount, you can roll that over for one more season, and then the next season his contract will expire, and then you'll have to decide whether you want to extend him. But that's only for players that are significantly injured, and we can vote upon this as a board. I won't make those decisions. We can work together on it and decide whether the player is eligible for arbitration or not. So that is arbitration. Thank you very much for watching. How do I